This Thursday, November 16th, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. And in honor of Veterans Day, everything in the merch store is 10% off with a promo code VETS. That's VETS. All proceeds from this sale will be donated to Mission 22, a nonprofit serving those who have served. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Thursday, November the 16th, currently 11:02 on the East Coast. A very short two-game schedule on the NBA docket here tonight. But hey, as we usually do, we're going to break it all down. And joining me as usual on these Thursday episodes, it's the man himself, Ryan, Rich Fat Baby McKee. McKee,
what up? Oh man, it is going well. I was on Twitter, doing a little research and saw that Megan making money. Remember her?
Oh, yes.
She's on OnlyFans now. How crazy is that? I haven't looked at I haven't bought the subscription to see if she's actually naked, but Megan making money, former SGPN employee, now with Barstool. Yeah, it's crazy. So if anybody knows in chat if she's actually naked in her OnlyFans, let me know.
That's a definitely a task I believe our chat will get us the answers to. I actually did see that on Twitter. I think it was last night when I saw it, when she posted it on Twitter. I was not around SGPN when she was involved, but I think I've had conversations with Capper of the Golf Gambling Podcast about the videos that she would do for SGPN and how she would make her picks. So hopefully
she was not naked in those.
Yeah. So maybe the chat can definitely help us out with that. Well, that's an assignment I'm giving our listeners and our fans to do for us. McKee, it was an exciting night of basketball last night in the association, Absolutely. As it usually was. Some intriguing games, a couple blowouts in there, but I know we'll talk about your team here in a minute. But I think yesterday was the day where we saw a lot of injury report. I don't want to call it manipulation, but you had to keep your eyes on the injury report yesterday because there were maybe 10 star players that were going to be a true game time decision or not going to be playing last night. And I think that affected almost every single game yesterday, except for probably the Cleveland and Portland game. But what caught your eye last night as far as the action in the association?
I mean, speaking of star players who sat out, Jaylen Brown sat out for the Celtics, and they were still able to really take care of the 76ers, which surprised the hell out of me. I thought that the 76ers were, right there with Boston, but when Boston is all the way healthy, I don't see anybody touching them right now, at least in the Eastern Conference. And we saw it last night. I mean, Brown sits, and then we get Derek White stepping up for a huge game. So they're just such a deep team.
Yeah, I did like the Celtics yesterday. And again, like we mentioned, that Jaylen Brown and even Porzingis were going to be true game time decisions. And I thought one of those guys would end up playing, but both of them end up sitting.
Oh, yeah, both sat, right?
Yeah, I had Celtics -5, and when those two got announced that they were going to be out, I think that number went all the way down to 2.5. But
I think it was at a pick'em. I think it was at a pick'em at some books right before the tip-off. Yeah.
Yeah, so fortunately for me and people that did back Boston yesterday, they did get the job done against the Sixers. And like you mentioned, McKee, Derek White steps up. for the Boston Celtics last night. 27 points for him. He was 7 of 12 from the floor, 4 of 8 from three-point line, and 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Jason Tatum doing Jason Tatum things. 29 points for him on 10 of 23 shooting, 4 of 10 from the floor. And I really thought that this was his spot. And even though for the Sixers that all 5 of their starters were in double figures and they all played heavy minutes last night, I thought this would be a spot that they would have some tired legs because they played the Pacers in the previous 2 games, did the Sixers, and I thought they would just have some really tired legs because we know the Pacers love getting up and down the floor, and I think that maybe some tired legs caught up to the Sixers, especially
in the Pacers quarter. Second in pace, right?
I believe so. Yeah, let me see if I can look that up here real quick. But yeah, I know things have changed in Philly, especially with the departure of Doc Rivers and obviously James Harden as well. But yeah, I think that was one of the more surprising ones last night. Your Suns took care of business last night.
Before we move on, I'm just curious for Philly. Do you think they're a piece away still, or do you think this is the team they're going to roll with all year?
I think they are a piece away.
Even with Maxey's, I mean, we saw last night they seem like they are a piece away if they can't beat a shorthanded Celtics.
Yeah, I think that for the Sixers, again, with Daryl Morey that's in that front office and all the hoopla that went on between him and James Harden, outside of that, like historically, me being a Rockets fan and me knowing him, that he's not going to be afraid to go out and make a move to acquire another star player to put alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, because again, we're in a league here, McKee, that who knows, maybe Joel Embiid may win out if this team is not winning basketball games or having success in the playoffs, right? So I think something similar to what Milwaukee had to do to go out and get Dame. I'm not saying that maybe that caliber of a player that they have to go out and get, but I think to keep Giannis in Milwaukee for the rest of his career or for majority of it, that they had to go out and make a move, and they did that with Damian Lillard and the player that he is. I think the Sixers are probably going to be in that same situation. What do you think?
I mean, I think that they're a piece away. I'm not sure. I feel like Joel Embiid is happy now that James Harden is out. I don't know if they have to worry too much about him. He and Maxey seem like they're boys, and like seem to get all reports coming out of Philly is that it's just like a really happy team right now.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like if that all changes if they don't have playoff success. But yeah, I'm not sure what that piece is or who's out there that they could get, but yeah, it definitely seems like they're not going to be able to compete with the Celtics at this point.
Yeah, I mean, right now for the Celtics, it's they are right now the cream of the crop, or the cream that's rising at the top in the Eastern Conference at least. Milwaukee's still figuring things out, with Giannis being in and out of the lineup. He missed the game last night, but they still went ahead and took care of business against Toronto, led by Damian Lillard. So I think once Milwaukee figures it out offensively, we know that team is going to be good. It's just defensively, they need to figure some things out, because they have, I think, the biggest drop off from last season where they were a defensive rated team. I think they were like top 4. Now they're, hovering around the bottom 5 in the entire league as far as defensive rating goes there for Milwaukee. So I think they're going to be okay. Indiana, I want to ask you about Indiana. I mean, they're a fun team to watch. They're one of the league pass teams for, I think, a lot of us are hardcore NBA junkies, but
absolutely,
I'm not sure if they'll be able to sustain the way that they're playing right now, where they're scoring 126, 127 points per game, but they're also giving up 123 points per game as well. So if they buy in a little bit on the defensive side, I think this team can definitely be a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a big if they haven't stopped anybody yet. So no. I mean, that's a huge thing. When we've seen this before, teams just trying to run other teams off the floor and not worry so much about defense. And it always, as soon as things start to slow down closer to playoffs, and then definitely in playoffs, those teams always implode. So I'm not sure how they up their defense at this point. It just doesn't look like they're even trying.
So we heard the rumors on Monday that eventually, sooner rather than later, now that this Bulls core is pretty much going to get blown up between Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and possibly even Nikola Vucevic. My question to you is, I don't think Zach LaVine would be a great fit on the Sixers, but if you added DeMar DeRozan to the Sixers, do you think that puts them over the top?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, that looks great. I mean, I don't love that backcourt for defensive with he and Maxey.
Yeah.
You know,
But then they also do have like
first,
Robert Covington in that starting lineup as well. That gives you
that's
some type of
that's
defense.
true. That's true. You know, that's a big name, and I see. For me, I would rather see like an Alex Caruso go to the 76ers to
Yeah.
play next to Maxey and like really just up that defense and like double down on that. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I hadn't thought of that. What do you think?
I think that they would be a great fit because number one, they have the 3-point shooting there. I know D'Anthony Milton, he can knock down the 3-point shot. Um, Robert Covington's a guy that can get you a couple of games. But I think if they put up a package together of DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso, and they trade him for some draft capital and maybe some fill-in role players there, I think that would put them right up there with with the Boston Celtics.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that would be a great move for the Philadelphia 76ers.
That's a really fun team. That's a really
Yeah.
fun team now that you say it. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, McKee, before we get to some more NBA talk from yesterday, let me tell everyone about our merch store and the Vets merch. In honor of Veterans Day, everything in the merch store is 10% off with the promo code VETS. That's VETS. All proceeds from this sale will be donated to Mission 22, a nonprofit serving those who have served. So support a great cause and score some sweet gears. Just go to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com and use promo code VETS. That's VETS. And we're also brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is the world's favorite sportsbook, trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. Props, sides, totals, live betting. Bet365 has you covered. And if you like Boost, you're going to love Bet365, like a 30% profit boost on your NFL same game parlay. Plus, they even have an early payout offer that if your team gets up by 17 points, you're going to get paid out. Sign up today and choose from two bonus offers, either a $1,000 no sweat bet or bet $5 and get 150 in bonus bets. Just head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365, or use the sign up link in our show bio. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, and college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Stay tuned at the end of the episode. McKee and we're going to put together a Underdog entry for the Thursday night action in the association. So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you sign up with promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Again, that's Underdog Fantasy, but make sure you use that promo code SGPN. All right, McKee, yesterday we also saw we got teased with it, the debut of the big three for your Phoenix Suns. We did see the report that Devin Booker was going to play. Obviously, Kevin Durant has been out there as well, and Bradley Beal as well. But about a couple hours before the game, Bradley Beal did get ruled out with some back tightness. So the debut, at least for the big three, has been delayed. But it didn't seem like they needed Bradley Beal last night, as they absolutely take care of business against the best defensive rated team in the association, the Minnesota Timberwolves. 133-115 last night. The Phoenix Suns get it done at home. McKee, I'm gonna let you take this away, man. I'm sure your eyes were glued to this game. What was your reaction to this game?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Timberwolves were coming off an emotional game where Rudy Gobert was in a chokehold by Draymond Green.
Yes.
So that might have had something to do with it. They had quite a last few days. However, I was just listening to the Bill Simmons podcast where he was talking to Doc Rivers, and they did a power ranking of the Western teams, and they had the Timberwolves number 2 right after the Denver Nuggets. Hard to argue with how good their defense have been and what a jump Ant has taken. But I got to say, the Suns made them look like fools last night. I mean, they led the whole game. They were up over 20 at halftime, just increased their lead through the whole thing. They were in control of that game the entire time. And I got to say, I think it's because of Devin Booker. 100%. When they don't have him in there, they don't have a facilitator who takes care of the ball. We were on this podcast last week, and the Suns had just played the Bulls, and they had 21 turnovers. They still barely won by 1 and on a shitty Bulls team, right? Yeah. So they only had 9 turnovers last night when Devin Booker is out there taking care of the ball. So while Durant can be a facilitator too, it's like it seems like he needs Booker out there for more consistency. So when Booker plays, I'm gonna bet the Suns every time. I feel like, but if he's sitting, that's when you got to watch. I don't trust the Suns when he sits.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, like you mentioned with the turnovers issues, that when Kevin Durant didn't have Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, I mean, those are both more than capable guys that can initiate your offense and
but even Beal, he played against that. He was in that game against the Bulls, and he just does not take care of the ball nearly as much as Booker can. I don't know. I mean, I know preseason they said Beal was going to be the point guard, or there was some rumor that he would be, but I don't see it personally.
Yeah, you're right. I think that it's probably going to have to be Devin Booker that is going to be the point guard of this team. I'm trying to just pull up Bradley Beal's game log here and see how many turnovers he's committed. So against OKC, he had 5 turnovers in 30 minutes. He had 2 against the Lakers, and then he had 2 in that game against the Chicago Bulls. But yeah, we'll see. I think it'll probably be trial and error for this Suns team, because we are 10 games in, a little more than that for the Suns, and we haven't seen the debut of the big 3, so that may come this weekend for this Phoenix Suns team. But it'll be interesting to see who ends up initiating this offense and being the ball handler for this Phoenix Suns team. But yeah, I think you're right that for this Suns team, they were able to take advantage of what the Timberwolves went through with the whole chokehold and then playing the last 2 games against the Golden State Warriors, because we saw even Anthony Edwards, like you mentioned, that I think this was before the season, that he said that we want to have playoff success. We want to make a deep run, but we want the Golden State Warriors. We feel like that's a team that we can beat. And he said that at the beginning of the season. So, emotions were high over the last 2 games between the Wolves and the Warriors. And I think something similar to what we talked about with Boston, it was probably for the Sixers, a big letdown spot for the Minnesota Timberwolves yesterday. I think the line was definitely telling as well, because the Suns were around a 5.5, 6 point favorite. And I think that
6 points,
seeing the Suns team and this Wolves team, that, hey, I think the books were begging you to take the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, but Phoenix takes care of business last night. Anything else you want to mention before we get to the games here for tonight?
I mean, other than, Booker only played 25 minutes, had 31 points. So Booker looking great. And another thing I was reminded of last night, this has nothing to do with betting. Dante DiVincenzo. Do you know his nickname? The Big Ragu.
I did not know that.
I love it when role players have nicknames, and then there's something as ridiculous as the Big Ragu, which sounds like is that like a borderline racial for DiVincenzo, the Big Ragu? I don't know. Maybe it's the red hair too. I'll have to dig into that more.
We'll have to probably change the New York Knicks name to either the Villanova Knicks or the New York Wildcats, one of the two, because they have all the Villanova players on that team right now, except for Mikal Bridges. All right, McKee, only 2 games here tonight in the association, so let's dive into these games. The first one, we have a rematch of the Brooklyn Nets. They are in South Beach to take on the Miami Heat. Miami Heat currently sitting as a 3.5-point home favorite. Total of 215.5, courtesy of our friends over at Bet365. Getting to the injury report for the Brooklyn Nets here. So Ben Simmons is going to be out for at least a week for the Brooklyn Nets. Cam Thomas is also out. He's dealing with a left ankle sprain. And that is pretty much it. The two significant names for the Brooklyn Nets. And then for the Miami Heat, we know Tyler Hero. He's also dealing with a right ankle sprain. He's going to be out for this game. And then Kevin Love, Caleb Martin, Josh Richardson are all available for the Miami Heat. Heat sitting as a 3.5-point favorite here. McKee, these two teams, like I mentioned, did play earlier this season where the Brooklyn Nets came from behind in South Beach and got the victory there. I believe it was 109-105 in favor.
Yeah, on November 1st. Yep.
Yeah. So 3.5 right now. What are you thinking about this game?
Well, Miami has a 6-game win streak, but those include wins over the Wizards, the Hornets, the Grizzlies, the Spurs. So they only beat 2 teams over 500 in that 6-game win streak, the Hawks and the Lakers. And what is the stat that all gamblers know about the Miami Heat at home as a home favorite?
Do not do it.
Fade them. Fade them. Yeah. Last season as a home favorite, they were 14, 26, and 2. So far at home, they're 0 and 4 against the spread. I'm not going to change it up. I'm not going to change. I'm going to fade the Heat here. Take the Nets plus 3.5. Even with Cam Thomas and Ben Simmons out, we saw Dinwiddie do a great Cam Thomas impression with the scoring last game. He had 29. So I like that. And when we get into player props, I'm looking at that as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, you just look at the ATS numbers, and this is something that Terrell has been harping on as well. As anytime you see the Miami Heat laying points at home, you go the other way. And even since the 2020 season, the Miami Heat 64, 78, and 4 against the spread at home. That's only a cover rate of 50. Let's round up to 55%. And that number gets even worse over the past couple seasons, like McKee mentioned, against the spread here. 21, 34, and 2 over the last 2 seasons, including this year so far. They're winning at home, but they're just not covering the spread.
Mm-hmm.
If you got to also dive into that box score, McKee, from that game that these two teams played on November 1st, the Brooklyn Nets did get 50 points from their bench in that game, but also for the Miami Heat, that was a game where Tyler Hero scored 30 points. Well, and like I mentioned, he's not going to be playing in this game. So, and also that was a game where the Brooklyn Nets didn't have Nick Claxton, and Bam Adebayo actually had a huge game in that night for the Miami Heat, where he chipped in with 21 points and 14 rebounds. So, both teams that had players that did and did not play are going to be active or not active in this game. So I think you just got to follow the ATS trends here. So 100% agree with you. Take the points here with the Brooklyn Nets plus 3.5 against the Miami Heat. Totals at 215.5. McKee, that game ended up with a total of points of 214 in the earlier matchup. Are you going under, or you're like in the over in this game?
You seeing that at 215 right now?
I see it on Bet365. Let me see, unless the number changed. Yeah, it's at 215.5.
You know what? That earlier this morning, it was at 217.5. That's come down a couple of points already. Wow. I was going to say, with both teams banged up, this is likely going to be an ugly battle, like a low scoring game. I feel like the under has cashed in 3 out of 4 of the team's recent games. So I was leaning under, especially when it's at 217. But yeah, I'll go ahead and still take the under at 215. Don't like it as much, though, obviously.
Yeah, McKee mentioned that the total did come down from 217.5 down to 215.5. And Miami Heat are a top 10 defensive rated team. I know Brooklyn, when the season started, they were doing well defensively, but they are down to just below league average at the 18th best defensive rated team. And we take a look at pace, right? Both these teams not really getting up and down the court. Slightly below league average as far as pace goes. Miami 17th, and then the Brooklyn Nets are right below them at number 18 as far as pace goes. So I expect both teams to be locked in here defensively. I think this might be something to a similar score what we saw when these two teams first matched up earlier this season. So I like the under. I'll lean with the under at 215.5. Player props in this game, McKee, what are we looking at?
Well, I already mentioned his name, but I'm looking at Spencer Dinwiddie. His points prop is currently set at 14.5. He sat out the last game against Miami. And but last game, but 2 nights ago against the Magic, he played 37.5 minutes, scored 29 points, led the team in both categories. He's a streaky scorer. As soon as Cam Thomas went out, you figured Dinwiddie's going to go off. Well, the first 2 games, not so much. He scored 12 points each in the first 2 games. But he really looked great last game, and we know when Dinwiddie gets hot, he's a streaky scorer. So I'm going to keep riding the hot hand here. He'll be guarded by Kyle Lowry. I think he should torch Kyle Lowry. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that 14.5 points for Spencer Dinwiddie. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I like that. He's going to have to step up here tonight, especially when they don't have Cam Thomas, who's been, I don't want to say the more consistent scorer, but their leading scorer for some of the several games. And also, if you kind of go back and look at the box score, Brooklyn Nets got 50 of their 59 points. 50 of that 109 points in that game against Miami from their bench. And I know Amani Books, a local product who went to U of H here, had 17 points in that game. Lonnie Walker had 17 as well. So you're gonna have to get contributions definitely from Spencer Dinwiddie in this game. Also, they didn't have Nick Claxton in that game either. So, like I mentioned, I really do like Nick Claxton here tonight. I'm looking at his blocks and steals to go over the number of 2.5 right now. That's at -120, currently over on
I like that.
Bet365. Yeah, you take a look. For Claxton at his game log, he's gone over this projection. And I want to say all of the games that he's played. I know he's only played in 3 games thus far this season, but um usually when he's out there, we know that he's a defensive anchor, especially that rim protection for the Brooklyn Nets. And I think I should have pulled up the numbers of what their defensive rating is with and without Nick Claxton, but just to put into perspective here, McKee, on the season, Nick Claxton, I know it's only 3 games that he's played in, but he had 2 blocks against Orlando Magic and 1 steal. He had 4 blocks against the Wizards, and then he had 3 blocks against the Cleveland Cavaliers in that game. So he's
Nice.
3 for 3 in this category. I'll go over 2.5 for Nick Claxton. And I also maybe sprinkle on his double-double here tonight. I think the points are always a concern for him, so it's just a sprinkle for him. But I do like his rebounds to get over. But the over 2.5 blocks and steals I really do like. Any other player props you're looking at?
I don't like this one as much, but I'm leaning towards Mikal Bridges over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Since becoming a Brooklyn Net, he's averaged 32.4 points, rebounds, and assists. This went over the last time he played Miami. He missed this by like 2 on Tuesday, but I watched that game against the Magic, and he was getting anything he wanted. He could have definitely scored more points if he needed to. So definitely like Mikal Bridges over points, rebounds, and assists for 31.5. I think he'll step up against Miami tonight.
Yeah, going back to that game against Miami, he had 21 points in that game. Chipped in also with 7 rebounds and 5 assists. So he got over that number of 31.5 on his PRA. All right, so let's get over to the next game. Or before we get over to the next game, maybe you're in South Beach and you want to get out to this game between the Brooklyn Nets and the Miami Heat. Well, let Game Time help you out with that. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't have to be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, comedy, theater, and music concerts near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. And some of the great stuff about their app, they have flash deals and last-minute tickets available. They're easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. And you also get images of the sea views, lowest price guaranteed, and event cancellation protection as well. So forget planning months in advance. Game Time deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and much more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time is going to credit you 110% of the difference. That's how confident they are in their prices. And like I mentioned, before you actually buy the tickets, you can actually get images of your seat. So there's no surprises when you actually get to the venue. So you can also buy tickets in a matter of seconds. It literally takes 2 taps and you're all set to go. And the best part is, once you actually buy those tickets, they're sent directly to your phone. You don't have to haggle through your email box or wait for them in the mailbox, worrying about if those tickets get lost. Nope, they go directly to your phone. You have it right there, and you're all set to go to the event that you're going to get out to. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Lowest price guaranteed. And we're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets' revolutionary parlay optimizer tools to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate and for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, McKee, the second game on the schedule, that is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are in the Bay Area to take on the Golden State Warriors. Currently, as it stands on Bet365, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a road favorite here of 2.5 points. Total is sitting at 227 in this game. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Oklahoma City Thunder, pretty clean injury report. Everybody is good to go. And for the Golden State Warriors, we know Steph Curry is dealing with a right knee sprain. He's going to be reevaluated later this week. And Draymond Green is serving his league suspension of 5 games for nearly choking out Rudy Gobert in their previous matchup. But you do get Klay Thompson back here after he got ejected in that last game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Little shorthanded right now for the Golden State Warriors without 2 of their 3, I guess, big 3, we can say. But McKee, 2.5 right now in favor of the Thunder on the road here. What are you thinking?
I mean, I think the biggest number to look at right now, the Golden State Warriors, without Steph Curry all time, since he's been playing on their team, are 81 and 143. So it shows you how important Curry is to that team. They're close to 500 when Draymond sits. I'm not sure the number when they are both out. Couldn't find that, but I really like the I really like OKC to come in here and steal another one from the Warriors. Warriors just don't look right without Curry and Draymond.
I think, McKee, we go back to last season and we looked at, if you looked at the home and road splits, obviously we've talked a lot about this on the pod. The Warriors were one of the worst one of the worst road teams last season. I think they were 11 and 30 straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And that has turned around this season where they are 5-2 on the road. But it seems like that script has flipped from last season to where they're not very good at home this season. In the 5 home games so far this season, they're 1-4 straight up and 1-4 against the spread. Yep. And now you are going to be without your best player in Steph Curry. You're going to be without your glue of your offense, or the glue of the team, Draymond Green. Now you're expecting CP3 to step up. You're expecting Klay Thompson to step up. And I know they got nice contributions in that game in the last game after the ejections happened for the Golden State Warriors. But let's also go back to the earlier, I think it was earlier this month, that these two teams matched up in Oklahoma City. And on the controversial, quote unquote, I think layup by Steph Curry that they counted, that Draymond Green may or may not have touched. I think this is a revenge spot here for the OKC Thunder. It does make me
Thunder
nervous.
Have been great. I mean, they're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. So
yeah, and they're healthy too, right?
They're healthy. They look great. I mean, they seem like, for all accounts, like a team on the up and up.
Yeah. And this was a team that I think a lot of us on the pod here were high on coming into the year because, number one, they have a great head coach. You got Chet Holmgren back as well. So I'm leaning here with the Oklahoma City Thunder as well. I know the numbers of how good the Warriors are at home in the underdog role. But again, you're missing Steph Curry. There's a significant fall off offensively for this Golden State Warriors team, especially without Steph Curry, and also now Draymond Green, who likes to push the pace when he's out there with his buddy Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So I'll lean here with the Thunder. I think my more favorite play in this game here, McKee, is going to be the under 227 in this game. But what are your thoughts on the total?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the under as well. That's already come down a point since I locked it in on Tally site this morning. Yeah, it was at 228 when I first looked at it this morning. So definitely some money coming in on the under. I think without Steph, without Draymond, it's going to be hard for the Warriors to put up a lot of points. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the under as well.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers with and without Steph Curry on the floor as far as their offensive rating, and obviously the offensive rating goes down by 5 points, and they're also averaging 5 points less without Steph Curry on the floor. And like similar to you, I was trying to find what happens when both Draymond and Steph Curry are not playing. I wasn't able to find those numbers, but I'm sure that number is even worse. So I like the under 227 in this game. Probably my favorite play of the night here. I think that, again, the Golden State Warriors, I think that if they want to win this game, they're going to have to lock in defensively, because we know how great of an offensive team, especially when Shea is out there for the Thunder team, that they're really good offensively. So under 227 for me. Let's get over to our player props here, McKee. What do we like?
First off, I'm looking at Andrew Wiggins, who's been god awful this season. And I know that personally because I have him on my fantasy basketball team. Thanks for getting me back into fantasy basketball, Munaf.
You're welcome.
But he has been good at rebounding still. I mean, not great, but good. And his rebounding numbers only set at 4.5 rebounds tonight. He's hit that in the last 6 of 8 games. He had 5 rebounds last time Golden State played OKC. I think if without Draymond there, Wiggins is gonna have to step up and grab a few more rebounds. Also, I can't find this player prop yet, but Kevon Looney should start tonight without Draymond. He came in after Draymond was ejected. He played 32 minutes and got 12 rebounds in the last game after he was ejected. So definitely look for Looney's rebound props as well tonight when those post.
Yeah, I don't see that number posted just yet. But yeah, like you mentioned, I do see Andrew Wiggins at 4.5, currently over on Bet365. And I think that if you like his number, if you really like his rebounding, the player milestones for rebounds, it's 7+ for Andrew Wiggins tonight is at plus 265. I think that's definitely worth a sprinkle for Andrew Wiggins, especially if we're expecting this to be a brick fest or a defensive game. I think the rebounds are going to be up plenty in this game. So I do see Andrew Wiggins plus 265 under player rebounds milestones over on Bet365. So yeah, I agree with you. I do like that as well. I would expect CP3 to play heavy minutes here tonight as well. He played 30+ minutes in the last game after Klay and Draymond were ejected. Do like his assist here tonight to go over the number of 9.5. I mean, the resume speaks for itself for CP3. So he's going to have to take over that Draymond Green facilitator role here tonight for the OKC Thunder. For the Golden State Warriors. So that was one I was looking at. Anything else that you like as far as player props in this game?
Yeah, I'm looking at Lou Dort. His points total, it's sitting at 11.5 right now at plus money. He's averaged 13 points so far this season. He had 29 points against the Warriors the last time they played, and has averaged 17.3 points against the Warriors for his career. For whatever reason, Dort seems to get up against the Warriors. So let's go ahead and ride that. Go over 11.5 points at plus 100.
I was looking at this as well. It just jumped off the page for me that, like you mentioned, in those 8 games, he's averaging around 17, close to 17.5 points. And he's gone over this projection of 11.5 in 6 of the 8 games, but he's done it in, I think, 5 straight games against the Warriors. And McKee, like you mentioned, the last game he had 29 and he was 6 of 6 from downtown was Lou Dort. So I definitely do like that as well. I was trying to figure out who is going to be the rebounding guy for this team, and I think it might just end up being Chet here tonight. I know SGA didn't play in that last game against the Warriors when they matched up in OKC. But again, when we talk about rebounding, I think Chet is going to have to be that guy for this team here tonight. His number for rebounding is at 7.5 at -115. I do like that. He did have 8 in the game against the Warriors earlier this season, but he's been right on the cusp of this number of 7.5, and he's been losing by the hook in throughout the last 4 games. But I think it's a game where, and an opportunity where him using his height in this game here tonight, I think that he should definitely be able to get 8 rebounds here tonight. So those are the couple that I was looking at. Anything else for this game, McKee?
No, just in the chat, True Brent said Josh Giddey got 15 in 6 straight games against them. So he's looking at the Josh Giddey prop as well.
Yeah, let's look that up right now here. Josh Giddey versus the Warriors. Yeah. He's averaging right around 15 points against them, 7.6 rebounds, 7.1 assists. And he's done this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 straight games.
And his points total is at 13.5 tonight at plus money.
Yeah, I think you might have to get down on that as well. That's a great call.
Good one,
there.
True Brent.
Yeah, that's a great point out there from True Brent. So I just want to see how SGA has done against the Warriors, because I feel like he has some type of vendetta against them. But 2 straight games, he's at 30 plus points. 3 out of the last 4 games, he's at 30 plus points against the Golden State Warriors. But I'm expecting the pace to be a lot slower in this game. Obviously, like we mentioned, without Steph Curry and Draymond out there, a little more methodical for the Golden State Warriors. But I think I saw SGA at 25.5 here tonight. Let me see. No, sorry, 31.5. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, 30. I think that's a little bit steep for him, but
yeah, it seems high.
Yeah. All right. Let's get over to our lock and dog, or our best bet, since there's only 2 games here for tonight. Then we'll do our underdog fantasy entry for this Thursday night game here. McKee, you want to lead us off with your best bet?
My best bet tonight is going to be the under 227 for the Thunder Warriors game. I think you said that's probably going to be yours too as well. So yeah. I'm stealing that a little bit, but that's the one I feel strongest about as well. And then as far as a dog, why don't we go ahead and parlay Lou Dort's 11.5 points over and go with the Giddey 13.5 points over. Both of those are at plus money, so that gets your odds up to plus 262. I like that. Giddey and Dort overs on points.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know, like we mentioned, True Brent pointing out Josh Giddey, and also Lou Dort just loving to play against this Warriors team. So 11.5, definitely a conservative number for Dort against the Warriors. So
why not sprinkle a little on the Nets money line as well, since they seem to have the Heat's number so far?
Yeah. That money line price is plus 140 for the Brooklyn Nets here tonight against the Miami Heat. All right, so for my lock, I'm there with you. The under in this Warriors and the Thunder game. Again, this offense just takes a significant dip when Steph Curry's not on the floor. I think the pace will slow down as well for the Warriors. And I think that the Warriors, if they want to win this game, they can't get into a shootout with the Thunder. So I think if you do like the Warriors here tonight, you maybe want to parlay that with the under, just because I don't think that they'll win 117, 118 to like one, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't think it'll be an over game if the Warriors win this game. I think that if they do win this game, it'll be something in the neighborhood of like a 105, 102, like something, a lower scoring game. So under for me for sure. For my dog, I liked I'll do a parlay here on 2-player props. So I really do like steals and blocks combined for Nick Claxton of over 2.5. And then for the Warriors and the Thunder game, I am going to go with I think that'll get us to a plus price. So I'll go, yeah, I'm going to take a page out of your book, McKee, and take Wiggins over 4.5 rebounds. Parlayed that with Nick Claxton blocks and steals over 2.5. That gets you to plus 205.
Love it.
Yep. And then before we get out of here, let's take care of one order of business for our Underdog Fantasy entry for tonight. Again, make sure to go to underdogfantasy.com. If you don't have an account already, make sure to use that promo code SGPN so you guys can play alongside with us and put together your own underdog entry for the games here tonight, whether it's NBA or even the NFL. And you can play alongside with us. So, McKee, we liked both Andrew Wiggins on his rebounds here tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. So higher on Andrew Wiggins on his rebounds. Where is he? So that's at 5. So Underdog Fantasy's on to us. So we'll take the higher 5 rebounds for Wiggins. What else do you like for our entry here tonight? You mentioned something from the Brooklyn Nets and the Miami Heat game, right?
Yeah, I had a Dinwiddie higher 14.5 points.
All right, here we go. Dinwiddie higher 14.5 points. All right, we'll put that in.
You want to do your Claxton blocks or something like that?
Yeah, I do see Nick Claxton 2.5 blocks and steals higher. So yeah, we'll keep it at that. I really like this. So 3 fantasy player entry here tonight. So we'll go Andrew Wiggins higher 5 rebounds, Spencer Dinwiddie higher 14.5 points, and then Nick Claxton higher on his 2.5 blocks and steals combined. That $100 entry will get you a return of $600 currently over on Underdog Fantasy. So come play along with us. Again, if you don't have an account, make sure you sign up at underdogfantasy.com, but make sure you use that promo code SGPN. They will match your first deposit 100% of up to $100. Again, underdogfantasy.com using promo code SGPN. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. McKee, anything else you want to mention, my friend, before we get out of here?
That's all I got, babe.
All right. Make sure you follow McKee on Twitter/X at the Ryan McKee. You can follow me on Twitter/X at SportsNerd824. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel and also follow us on Twitter/X at SGPNNBA. We'll be back tomorrow for the NBA in-season tournament group stage with Terrell and Scott. So look out for that. As usual, 11 a.m. Eastern time for the NBA Gambling Podcast. And we'll talk to you guys then. Good luck with your bets here tonight. Let's break these books off and let it ride.